Ambassador Gina Winstanley, non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Ambassador Gina, we had some statement from Secretary Rubio who was saying that we have some good grounds to believe that we might just embark on nuclear negotiations with Iran. Either they will just have to comply with our demands, or we have to take it our own way. So, do you think that this memorandum of understanding that we discussed the other day could pave the way for a deal with Iran?
Thank you so much for having me. I do believe that it could pave the way. A great deal of professional work, as the president has said, has gone into the negotiations. The mediators have been working hard. We see the Secretary of State taking on the role of announcing as things have continued. He has said it earlier today, or earlier yesterday, I should say, that there might be an announcement in a few hours. We've had positive statements from all the sides, the Iranian, the American, as well as the mediators themselves, that significant progress is being made. But there are a great deal of pressures against success. And these are what the president is navigating now, even as the negotiations continue. It is important to lay the groundwork when you are negotiating a deal, an agreement. The typical way that it is done is that you set up voices to amplify what you are accomplishing as a success so that the narrative is strong and supportive. In this case, it's easy to anticipate negative pushback against this agreement, and it's not yet clear that there are enough voices to amplify and support closing this deal out, as the president has said he wants to do.
Ambassador Winstanley, we are talking about an MOU where the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened, the naval blockade will be removed, and the release of some of the Iranian frozen assets. This MOU will take us to some negotiations to the major sticking point. Mm-hmm. Why, until now, this MOU is not finalized? So, where is where do we stand now?
Well, it's a matter of sequencing. There's a general agreement, we understand, about what needs to happen. The president certainly understands the urgency of getting the Strait of Hormuz open again. The impact on the world economy is something that he's briefed on a daily basis. But the sequencing of it is rather complex and technical. What's done on day one? What's done on day five? Who moves first on various aspects of getting the strait open, and of course, what the Iranians are hoping for, which is the lifting of sanctions, certainly for their oil that hasn't been able to move out. And so all of this is a technical but complex discussion and negotiation. And we must keep in mind that both sides are looking for something that can be presented as a win, as an accomplishment. The Iranians certainly are beginning to talk about the narrative as if they have succeeded, and certainly President Trump will want to do the same thing.
So Washington is focusing on two main points: opening the Strait of Hormuz without any Iranian tolls, and also to get rid of the highly enriched uranium so that they could end the nuclear threats. Today, when the military advisor for the Supreme Leader talked, he said that the Strait of Hormuz should be under the strict supervision of Iran, and that Iran will refuse to link the release of funds and in return for handing over the enriched uranium. What do you understand?
Well, I understand that this memorandum of understanding, this framework agreement, is not done until it's done. The U.S. demands have been consistent, and there has been movement. The Iranians, I think, started off with suggesting a 3-year moratorium. The Americans said 20. It has moved much closer to what the Americans have demanded than where the Iranians started. But the nuclear file, that is what happens with the highly enriched uranium, what amount, if any, the Iranians will continue to enrich for civilian nuclear purposes, those are things that certainly can be finessed diplomatically if the two sides are intent upon ending this conflict. But of course, there are those hawks, hardliners within the U.S. Congress and supporters of Israel, as well as the government and Prime Minister of Israel, who do not want this conflict to end. So there are criticisms of the flexibility that the United States is currently showing in negotiations, which is for the good of the world economy. And certainly the American people have not been supportive of this war from the very beginning. So President Trump has those pressures to move forward with this, but the pressure to not do it is extremely strong. We've seen members of Congress speak out, particularly Senator Graham. We know the Israelis are expressing concerns privately and marshaling their supporters to get this to stop. So we will see whether the president is able to hold to his course, but the urgency of getting the strait open is very much in front of him, in front of the negotiators, so that the nuclear file can be negotiated to the point where it is a better deal than President Obama got, and certainly would lengthen the deal that President Obama got. But we have to remember, from the very beginning, the Iranians have said they were not seeking a nuclear weapon. It was enriching the uranium to that 60% that has raised the cautions of the world, and that has to be addressed. They cannot be left with that level of uranium without the IAEA doing inspections, very intrusive inspections, and either diluting it or sending it outside of Iran.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Gina Winstanley. We'll leave it here. شكرا. يعطيك العافية. شكرا, Ambassador.
Afwan. Take care.
شكرا.